Welcome to Sunday Scriptures for Patriots. I am here with Barry Dermaz, who is my co-host. I'm your regular host, Sean Morgan from the SeanMorganReport.com. And we are going to talk more about this right to travel, this idea that maybe you don't need to ask for permission from the government to move about the land in a non-commercial, kind of personal type of way. And so Barry, he talked in the last episode about ways that he experimented with this in and out of the courts. And we're going to build upon this subject. But first, we're going to get a word from our sponsor, Sovereign Advisors, who is a Christian company started by someone with a terminal degree in theology, actually, Dr. Kirk Elliott. He's a friend of mine. I trust him for my financial advice, and he offers free consultations about silver and gold. So let's hear a message from Sovereign Advisors, and we'll be right back with the right to travel. Gold is near all-time highs. Has it reached its peak? Did you miss the boat? No, I don't think so. The exploding debt, change in the interest rate cycle, political and economic turmoil have caused the current move in gold, and those things are getting worse. In fact, Citibank projected gold to hit $3,000 an ounce over the next 12 to 18 months. I encourage you to protect and grow your investment portfolio with gold. I trust Dr. Kirk Elliott with Sovereign Advisors. With over 25 years of experience and 2 PhDs, Kirk Elliott is the best of the best in the industry. Call his office at 720-605-3900 and tell him Sean Morgan sent you, or just click on the link in the description to get that free consultation. All right, Barry. So last time you started digging into your story of how this all started in Oregon, and then you also did some work in Florida, and you were kind of just learning as you were going. You were just kind of, building your knowledge base about legal principles and how they applied to your life. And of course, you also had the biblical principles that you were working with, and they were compatible. So tell me more about how these things developed for you when you were in Florida.
Okay, Sean, yes. How these developed. In the 4 years that I lived in Florida, I had 3 opportunities. I actually had 3 events take place where I was questioned by men in uniform, okay, that are, some would say, consider these men to be robber barons, on the king's highway. They think, the state is king. And this program and our confession is that, no, that's not true. The state is a servant of that king, isn't he? Or aren't they? Yeah. The state are his ministers, okay, of America's unseen king, okay? And they don't know that, or they'll give lip service to it. And so in Florida, Sean, as I worked on, first there was 2 cases that I actually had trials in, that I started looking at everything in my research, and just at the state of Florida seal, I'm getting all these documents and things from the state. And, it says on the state seal there in Florida, it says, "In God we trust." That's the national motto, right? In God we trust. But Sean, I've been in their courts. I've been before judges that are really not judging righteously, right-headedly. That's what righteousness means, is to be right-headed. They're not right-headed, okay? And that's because their view of law is pagan. It is not the Christian idea of law. So look at this, Sean. But on the state seal, it says, "In God we trust." And if I have the wherewithal, and I did in some measure, I would challenge that. But they're not going to let you hear it there in that venue. They don't trust in God, the true lawgiver. They're their own God. And so this is a propaganda. It's one area where there's a propaganda of, yeah, we say we trust in God and you just surrender unto Caesar. And they really teach that. They really believe, no, you just do what I say or else. And I know otherwise, Sean, that they are godless, because I have the Bible. I got the word of the king. And it instructs me otherwise, that God gives us the power and the authority to bodily locomotion and liberty, the liberty to move around. Okay. So in one the first major case down there, I actually decided to I changed my plea, okay, because everything's been not guilty. But once I started seeing how manipulative things are, like I was drilling down, Sean, on the jury. First of all, in Florida, they consider traveling without their license a crime. Now, it's not a felony, but they call it's a misdemeanor crime. All right. And so that's first point. In Florida, and I'm sure in other states, it's considered a crime. And so, Sean, I'm going to turn here and I'm going to reach for something. I'm going to reach for some history here in our law. And so what I'm holding up here, I mentioned this last week. This is William Blackstone's commentaries on the English common law. All right. And 4 volumes, beautiful set that cost me like $200 and some, maybe 10 years ago. And in here on public wrongs, that's what a crime is. It's a public wrong. And I read here that he says, in all cases, crimes include an injury.
An injured party. So if you're driving around not hurting anyone, how is that a crime?
Yes, Sean, there's so much to this, just this one subject of travel. There's other areas of our life that are needing attention. Okay. And people I trust are listening, and well, they are listening, of course. But you read that, and it's important to know, friends, that William Blackstone, when his commentaries came out, there was more copies of this sold in America, colonial America, than there were in England. And so it's really neat to get the background history. William Blackstone, an English common law jurist, okay? And so these volumes are precious. This is the foundation layer of law in America, okay? And that is the outworking of law and liberty in England, okay? And so cases that are true crimes include an injury. And yeah, you have to think on that for a while. Just like, wait a minute, who's being hurt by me getting in my vehicle and taking care of my family? Okay. There's no injury. So that's part of my eye. The scales off my eyes, Sean, are coming off like, wait a minute, this is a big fraudulent thing. Okay. There is no injured party. And in our common law, there has to be an injured party. Now, in their Roman civil law, there doesn't need to be. There just needs to be a complaint. And then the ones complaining, as I said last week, Sean, are government employees. They're the only ones complaining. And I'm going to shout about that because they need to feel uncomfortable. And if there's any government employee listening to this that's in law enforcement, we need good law enforcement, but it is
that
not.
Always struck me as unjust that you have these policemen and these lawyers and these public defenders and these judges, and they're all on the same payroll on the same side. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to somehow be able to be impartial to you as a citizen, so I don't like that. I don't like how all the scales are tipped in the favor of the government, and they're the ones that have the unlimited budget to fight you.
Yes, Sean, it really is an eye-opener to represent yourself. And so again, we talked about this a little bit last week. I've been in 2 actual court cases, and I drilled down like on every area about the jury. They in Florida, they've taken the 12-man jury and reduced it down to 6. Okay, well, where do they get that authority? Did the people say, hey, we need a 6-man jury? No, that's just the lawyers. That's the bar. And I would go to the Bar Association website and see what they're saying about justice. It is just fraud. I have files for like everything. Sean, behind me here, I'm just turning to look. Oh, that's not that folder. No, I looked at the jury and I saw that was manipulated. And the judge, like you're talking about, the judges are largely administrative. Okay. They're not a disinterested party. And just this collaboration in the courtrooms, I've seen it with the prosecutor and the judge, and there you are, I'm representing myself. and
And most
they're
people
not
aren't clued
volunteer.
into the legal language and the legal
Yes. Oh,
procedures, and then they try to bully
yes,
you, and they
they
try
do.
to say, "Well, you're not doing this according to the procedures that we made up." It's like, I'm just acting myself. I'm, I don't know every detail of your complicated code of how
Yes.
I'm supposed to express
Mhm.
myself in this venue. Why
Yes.
don't you cut me a break and you show me a little bit of civility and kindness? But instead, they bully you and they're aggressive towards you, and they treat you like a incompetent child. It's very difficult to be in a court.
It is, Sean. In fact, um, even though that's true, I do say it's okay to get bloodied up in a certain way, so that when it's hard to think straight there before the judge and dealing with the prosecutor, you do you go home, you take things away where you do your research and for preparation for the next hearing. And that's what I did. I learned as a pro se litigant. Here's the beauty, Sean. If people want to learn our law, and they should, okay, our law, which is the law of liberty, you want to learn this. You really got to spend some money and time and get the tools and the resources, because it is so invigorating to learn how to answer these professional accusers and write papers they cannot answer, and basically mess up their system. That's what I've learned that the Christian life is about. We're not to accommodate the evil empire. All right. We're no. The Lord says this is the faith that overcomes the world. And but we need true law, and that's rooted in God's law. But there's been an attack with Roman civil law of statutoriness of behind everything. And I know that does not apply to me in the private sector. It doesn't apply to you, Sean, to us people of the land. Okay. And so learning to ask good questions. And yeah, you can see when they're trying to manipulate you. But what happens is when you represent yourself, you actually have access to all the tools and processes that a licensed attorney has. Whoa, you can, by law, our law, even the statutory law, you can represent yourself. And look, I've said on this program that I'm a poor man, and I'm a very lean man, just where we are while we rebuild our household economy. Okay, after being in Japan for 3 years. And so I've got more time than dollars, quite frankly. All right. And and some people don't have the time and they got the dollars. So then you hire people. But for me, I can't do that. And
And you've
so I have
been
to study.
mentored by a underground common law lawyer.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, Sean. So a friend of mine who's been mentoring me is people need to know about a man that I actually coined for him. I coined him as America's underground lawyer, and that is Brent Allen Winters. You can find him at commonlawyer.com. I learned about him in Japan, and I got all his materials, and it is just an education that has been so smothered over. We just don't know. Sean, we're ignorant. I've been ignorant, and once I cracked the lid on this concealed knowledge that's to my victory, I'm like, this is so good. And even though I'm going into court and exercising what I've just learned, and I'm getting hammered because I got broadsided by something else, there's too much of their legalese. But in time, this is what part of my testimony is, in time, you do get good to the point where right now, I'm not getting their license, and I won't. And I know how to, answer them and avoid their nonsense. So, but that's the thing to know, is that you can do depositions. You can request subpoena documents. You can do this of your own accord when you represent yourself. Okay. And so, and here's the thing too, in one of my cases down there in Gainesville, Florida, I asked for a whole list of things, and the prosecuting attorney, she refused it flat out right there. And then the judge just enforced it with her. He says, just go get it in the freedom and, out there in the public, instead of through the courts. And that's what I did. Okay. But guess what? 2 years later, I have got zero. They have not provided any documentation, Sean, and listeners, so that the fraud is there. And if people want to get sensitive about, oh, you don't have a license to travel, or I mean, they don't even talk about travel, like drive, more of a commercial term, quite frankly. Calm down. When you get some good ideas, some good principles, it governs you and your mind gets calm. And then you start seeing these guys, the courts and the law enforcement, they are pretty much ignorant. And so, Sean, it is up to us. We, the people, our founder said, look, the people have to be informed. We need to be an informed citizenry. I might have been Jefferson or John Adams, but we need to be informed. And that's all I've been doing is I'm a student of our
And
founding.
you're actually waking up the lawyers and the judges in the process of
Yes.
questioning their system.
Yes.
So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of the tactics that you used, and maybe we'll reference the accident that you got into in Florida with the van.
Right. Well, I mentioned that. So once I saw the manipulations, I decided, you know what? There's only so much time and energy. I changed my plea and I think to a no contest, and then that ended that case right there. Okay, and then I paid paid some money that goes into their different trusts and all that. But I did have a situation where I was training my daughter to drive, to travel. Okay. And in this particular instance, we were pulling a trailer with some weight, some things on the back there. And I wasn't thinking clearly, but I wanted my daughter to drive down the freeway pulling this trailer. She wanted the experience. And so here's what happened is that she ended up curving over, moving over to the wake up bumps on the shoulder there on the freeway. I said, well, Victoria, and I'm in the passenger seat now, so she's driving. I said, Victoria, you want to come off of that, those safety bumps, those wake up bumps, I call them. Well, in doing that, she overcorrected. You know what that is? She
just went whoop.
She did, and that probably wouldn't have been a problem. However, as I just mentioned, we were pulling a trailer, an open flatbed trailer, and it had some coolers on there, some good size coolers, and some other things that it caused the trailer to fishtail, and the weight of that whipped the back end of our van. It wasn't very, it's light back there. So we're going back and forth, fishtailing, and to the point that we ran off the freeway. My daughter Joy's behind us. I mean, it was, yeah. So we lost control. She lost control, and we hit a tree, actually more like bushes, and the van went sideways because we got this trailer, this heavy trailer that jackknifed us. Okay. And so, yeah, that's nice.
Here.
If you could, for those who are watching by video, Sean's now bringing up a photo. And so I've got a lot more photos that really show this, but you can see the tires up in the air, the passenger side. And there was dirt that came flying into the windows. We spun out, we just, with this trailer. And in this particular photo, you can see that the Florida Highway Patrol showed up because, people are driving and they're calling in a 911. Right. So we actually had 2 patrol cars, a fire engine came, and, paramedics, and we had to sign, just initial something that we don't need the medical help that they're offering. And thank God we were.
Yeah, thank God you were okay.
We were fine. Okay. But so here's how it went down. I mean, this is background to, get down to some of the strategies. It's important to frame it that, they're asking, of course, driver's license, right? Well, I offer them my passport. Okay. And sometimes that's fine, but they still want, it's fine as far as they identify who you are, but I didn't have a driver's license, and certainly my daughter didn't, and she's never had one. Okay, so I just told the officer that I'm taking full responsibility. She was driving, and she lost control, so she got cited for reckless driving, right? Reckless driving, and she got cited for not having a driver's license. But I told the officer, look, I'm responsible. I will take this on. And he says, no, she's I think she was 19 at that time. So he said, you know, she's over 18. She made the decision to get behind that wheel. And so she got the 2 citations. I didn't get any because I was already in court and I actually had papers with me. And I told them I'm already working on things. And so that's a strategy right there, Sean, that if you are in court and you've got an open case, keep those documents with you. Okay. That is very helpful that the officer, if you get pulled over, you can show them, yep, we're in a case right now. And usually what they'll do is like, okay, they'll just give you a warning and they understand. And actually that did happen to me in another time. Okay. So we could talk a little bit about that if necessary. So here's what happened. She got the citations and to appear. So we get a letter in the mail to appear, and we decided to appear in a way that is victorious to self-governance, Sean. And that is we wrote them back with our own paperwork. We basically set up our own court, okay, as a superior court. And I did a double header here. One way to put it is, one, we didn't appear on the date that they say appear, okay? And that's an egregious thing to do that. But the way we did appear is we wrote papers and I sent them their original citations back, okay? And I actually have copies. I've got some paperwork here. I'm showing up in the camera, but I have here in front of me, you can see there's a traffic citation right there. All right. And I'm just flipping a page here. Oh, there's the second one. Actually, there's a third one. And so, Sean, I wrote on their notice to appear. Can you read that? Because I put it in red ink so that they wouldn't miss it.
Yep.
Okay. It says that refused for cause and without dishonor and without recourse to me. So friends, I sent them their citations back, not copies, the original ones. I sent them back because I'm challenging their authority and their jurisdiction. And so I sent them back with some paperwork, and
there was no injured party, right? Your daughter
exactly
didn't hit another car, didn't damage any property.
Yes, actually, okay, so there was damage to our van, okay, but there was no personal.
She injured herself. That's not.
Yes.
It's not a crime to injure yourself there.
Yeah, there was no, and it was wide out open country between Jacksonville and making our way back to Live Oak, Florida, and it was along the freeway, just a bank of bushes and trees, okay, and a lot of people stopped on the freeway to see we're okay, because hey, when you see a car that's on its side, 2 wheels up on the air, yeah, people are like, oh, they're stopping. We a lot of people came and said, are you okay? But yeah, thankfully we were, and then we had a chuckle, that wow, the Lord protected us. But so we, with the help of a friend that I have down in Texas that's been grooming me and shepherding me, is to we appeared by writing. Okay, we didn't show up to the court, and I sent them their paperwork back. I challenged their jurisdiction, and I said that you need to correct this, essentially. And here's what happened, Sean. That hearing date came and went, and we received another notice to appear in the mail. And so what they did is they started over. Isn't that something? So look at this.
So whatever you did kind of worked, because
yes,
they were forced to start over.
They started over with another notice to appear. Very interesting. Like, wow, yeah. That is neat.
They didn't say, oh, you neglected to appear, you are negligent, you owe us money. They said, okay, well, let's try starting a new contract.
Yeah.
Will you appear now?
Yes. Now let me back up for a minute, because there's a 3-step progression that I followed here to just throw this thing off of us. Okay. But in my step 1, in my paperwork, where I what I said here is you've given us unauthorized, irregular, and defective papers. Okay.
Yeah.
And, but what I did now, okay, so keep in mind, I'm not the one that was cited. Okay. I'm already in court and I'm working through that. I'm getting experience and learning how to have victory over these guys. But my daughter, okay, first time, and she's never had their license. Okay. But my daughter, Sean, and so my daughter, the paperwork that's coming to the house is my daughter's name on there. Now, in the typical household, I suppose that's just then that person's gonna, deal with it. But Sean, I want to mention now another world overcoming truth in when we talk about self-governance, there is, when you read our founding body of law, and such as William Blackstone's English Common Law, in volume 1, there is a chapter on, it's chapter 15. So anybody wants to read William Blackstone, chapter 15 is about the husband and the wife. The husband and wife. And why I'm referencing this is because in the law, our common law, which is, as Joseph Story said, that there's never a time that our common law was not based on Christianity. Okay. Our common law, when it comes to the husband and wife, the rights there and the protections, there is what's called the law of coverture. Okay. Coverture. This means covering. All right. And this is such a foreign concept. And I'm hoping people are really listening intently, because this gets to God's design of the marital union of the home, Sean, that a man and a woman who come together in holy matrimony, they are one. God says that, right? He says they're one. Well, look at this. Look, now listen to what I'm going to read here in Blackstone's commentary, because now we're talking about law. See, first we'll talk about God's word, his law, but now he says here that by marriage, the husband and wife are one person in law.
Yeah.
That is the
It's
very
like if
being.
you created a partnership in a business.
That's right.
One business partner starts doing crimes. Well, you're implicated as a business partner because it's one corporate entity that committed the crime.
Yes, within the context of these two, this man and woman, they're married. They've made a covenant, not a contract.
Well, a covenant is a contract, but yeah.
Well, now, Sean, that's a covenants can be have an expiration date. I mean, did I say no?
So
contracts.
So can contracts.
Contracts. I'm sorry. No. Contracts have expiration dates. Covenants, as far as I can see, do not. At least with the marriage covenant, and that is that.
So a covenant is a permanent contract.
Yeah, a covenant is a binding agreement that cannot be broken without consequence. There's consequences for breaking a covenant. Okay. And marriage is a covenant, although it's been morphed into a civil contract. And, maybe somebody will make a case about that. But certainly in our modern era, it's looked at as a contract because we can get in and get out. Divorce is rampant. Okay. But a covenant is, there's the marriage covenant. And that's to be till death do us part. Right, that's supposed to be part of the vows, and Blackstone does talk about that the very being or the legal existence of the woman is suspended. During the marriage, or at least is incorporated and consolidated into that of the husband, under whose wing, protection, and cover, he has cover italicized because this is the law of coverture, she performs everything, and is therefore called in our law French a femme court or covert. Okay. And so she comes under the influence, the protection of her husband. And this is a lost idea, Sean, in our modern era. Like, it is way underground information.
And are you saying that this applied to your status as the father of your daughter who lives with you as well?
Yes. So everything starts with the marital union as far as, good government, right? After your self-government. That's right. So we just deduce, yes, the children, they're not of their own accord to make contracts without father's consent, and neither really is the wife. That's in the Bible, and Blackstone talks about it here in the law of coverture, that the wife, while she's single, if she's, she could be looked at legally as making contracts, but when she comes into a holy matrimony, under the common law, yes, if you, in fact, when you read further in here, if she is sued, the husband becomes the defendant, not the wife. Okay. So yes, the children. So it just follows down from there. The children, Sean, if somebody, and so here the state of Florida brought a two complaints, right, against my daughter, and my daughter lives at home and she's under my care and protection. And so when I wrote these, the prosecuting attorney back, my paperwork, I wrote here, I said, I did a plea, a common law plea in abatement, which is to just put this thing aside. Okay. And I said a plea in abatement by Barry H. Durmaz, father and protector of Victoria S. Durmaz, in the matter of their notice to appear. Okay. And people don't do this. So typically, so one is I represented ourselves first and foremost with an abatement, common law abatement. And then I did not let my daughter respond to this. I'm the spokesman when there's something egregious like this coming against us. Okay. And so I mentioned this to a lawyer recently that we met a couple weekends ago. We attended the Scottish Highland Games in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I was wearing something that somebody came up, a man and his wife came up and said, "Where'd you get that cap?" I was wearing a Scottish cappy from another games down in Florida. And so we talked and met, and I eventually asked him what he does. And he says he is a Philadelphia lawyer. Okay. I got his business card. And so we started talking law. I asked him what area he practices in, and then I shared with him about what I know about our common law. And he like, "What? You know our common law?" And then I talked to him about the law of coverture, and he's like, "Oh, I mean, that is killer stuff. Like this is secret, not secret. No, that's the statutory world. This is unfortunately underground information that if we will study and bring it forward, Sean, it is so invigorating to throw off these degreed lawyers, attorneys, and judges with the Jesus method of fighting without fighting, and that is writing papers they cannot answer."
I always thought it was interesting the way Jesus spoke to legal authorities, because they would say, "Are you a king?" And he said, "Well, you say I am." It's like,
Yes.
he's like, "I'm not going to say something to incriminate myself here. I mean, this is coming out of your mouth." So very interesting how savvy Jesus was with the legal, wording that he used. But let's get to this situation. What was the result when you did this abatement, when you were representing your daughter as a protector? What happened with this situation as a result?
Okay. Well, okay. Let's so there was a second and then actually a third step. When they sent me their second notice to appear, which was they started over, I sent them a second piece of correspondence, and it's structured like a motion or legal document. So it wasn't a letter. It's an abatement. I sent them a second notice, which is called a notice of non-conforming response. So I let them know that you can't do this. You started over. You have to serve your paperwork through the sheriff. There has to be an injured party with a sworn affidavit, and then we'll see. I'm waiting for that, Sean. So they did not conform. See, I told them to do it right in the first abatement. Then in the second one, I said, no, you can't do that. That's not honor. Okay. There is a thing in court, as bad as our courts are, they have to act in honor, Sean. See, when
And
we,
honor is when people
yeah,
communicate and
yes,
you ask a question or you make a reasonable request or whatever, and then they just refuse to answer, or they
hmm,
refuse to communicate back again. You give them notice and they don't respond to the
that's
notice,
right.
then they go into dishonor, right?
Yes, Sean, you are good. Excellent. You've been studying, my friend. That's good. Exactly. And that is so, that, you know what that tells us, Sean? That if we know we're standing in truth, we're in inherent fundamental principles that are unalienable, right? Our birth certificate of 76, these are unalienable rights. When we stand in that, then we can boldly, of course, humbly, but boldly put ourselves in writing out there and just wait for them to give a meaningful reply. And when they don't, they are in dishonor. And so, and then you set a time frame on this, like basically 30 days. You give them 30 days, okay? And when they don't reply, at least in my case, they didn't reply. Boom, that stands as this is what is true, because
And
the
then you have a
nature of,
record, right? You
that's
have a
right, it's
record
on
that
the
they
court
didn't
record.
reply.
Yes, that is excellent. So, Sean, there's a lot to be said about this, is that it's on the court record. You are saying, hey, yeah, we'll, we just want to correct these deficiencies. All right. And when they don't act in honor, they have been found out. Okay. So that's what happened is I sent them this second notice, which is a notice of non-conforming response. And I did not hear from them again. I gave them 30 days. And so well past 30 days, maybe like after 60 days, I sent them a default judgment. And I said, this is what is true, is that is I've set up my court. Your paperwork is defective. There is no injured party, blah, blah, blah. And you've been found out. And you know what? So I never heard from them again, except one thing. We did receive a visit from a county deputy sheriff. Okay. So somewhere in this, they did send out, okay, so a deputy sheriff came to the door asking for Victoria. And amazingly, by God's goodness, she was actually not there. She wasn't there. We didn't have to hide her under the bed or anything or in a closet, right? She was actually across at our neighbors, actually. She was doing something over there. And so, but what he said, and I had my wife answer the door, and he said that there was a warrant for Victoria, but he never presented the warrant. And my wife, he never gave her a copy of anything. He just said there was, and he wanted Victoria to call the sheriff of this county, okay, in Florida. This was, I think, Baker County. All right. We lived in Suwannee at the time. So I had, but my wife, I've been grooming my wife, and she's been around this. We've been enough, here 24 years, perfecting our self-governance. And they want her, Victoria, to call him. And we just ignored it. So
here's an offer to have a contract. And you say, no,
yeah,
that doesn't work for me. If you want to contact me, you contact me. You present me with paperwork.
Yes. Yes. So basically it just went dormant. And it being advised by my friend, James down in Texas, we were going to then take another step of actually sending all of this to the Department of Risk Management at the state of the Florida, because here's what's going on, Sean. When law enforcement exceeds their limited jurisdiction and start enforcing law that's not true law, and they are at liability, they are at risk, they are deprivation of rights. They are becoming.
Then there is an injured party. There is a crime.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Exactly. So I didn't get that far. But I was preparing it, and I've got stacks of stuff I was preparing. I actually called the Department of Risk Management because what the strategy there is, okay, let the Department of Risk Management know, show all the paperwork, okay, just the paper trail, the history, and then let them deal with the Sheriff's Department, okay, because what can happen is that you could make a claim on a bond. Right. And there's some conversation out there about that. I haven't gotten that far, but that's what bonding is about, is that, the whole licensing, insured and bonded. And I was a contractor in Oregon with those things. So I haven't perfected that part yet where, we can make a claim on a bond, because these officers, they take an oath, And with that, I believe there is. I've gotten copies of some of these things, and I'm still a work in progress, Sean. It's just that we're perfecting this. We have some victory. We know how to write papers. Those accusers cannot answer. And
Yes,
I'm shouting to the
I
Lord.
have dived into this myself a little bit, and that's what it all comes down to, is who has authority and control to make other people pay a price or to act or behave. And in this case, where there is an injured party and it's actually you and the state's the one responsible, then you can sue them, and they
Yes.
are insured or bonded, and you
Hmm.
can cash in on that if they commit a crime against you. So it makes
Yes.
you, it puts you in a position of authority and sovereignty when the
Hmm.
police try to treat you like some type of incompetent child, and you say to them, excuse me, um, where's your card? Where's your
Hmm.
identification?
Hmm.
Who are you,
Hmm.
are you who you say you are? Because by
Hmm.
law you have to prove that you are a police officer. So
Yes.
show me your business card, show me your badge, show me your name card,
Hmm.
whatever it is, and then you let them know. Okay, if they crossed a line,
Yes.
hey, I'm very familiar with the fact that you're bonded, and that if you commit a crime, then I can hold you accountable. So as soon as you start stepping into that territory, they back off. They
Hmm.
don't want to
Hmm.
deal with someone
Hmm.
who knows the law and knows how to turn them into their superiors and sue them and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it also gets into this whole world of liens, right?
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
how does the government force us to pay stuff? It's by putting liens on our property. So if we
Hmm.
have the
Hmm.
legal knowledge to be able to put liens on them and their property, that's very powerful stuff. So
Sean, I
something
think
I'm
yes.
interested in
Yeah.
learning more about.
Yeah. You know, um, we're all, time is an interesting thing where it is good to collaborate, and there are men out there with good information. Like I mentioned, Brent. There's also Team Law out there. I think teamlaw.com. Basically, Sean, I've been captured with this view that uh, I'm like a junior lawyer. I've actually looked at going to law school, but the problem with that is that that's the problem, is
You don't want to
really
be a
all the
part of the
law
bar
schools.
association,
Yes, no.
all that.
I know, it's attractive to people because, you can make
Join the
big
club,
money.
make the
Yeah, join the club.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
right.
But actually, it is neat to operate outside their system because uh, you're a wild card. You're going up against a lawyer judge, a lawyer prosecutor, and here you are. You're not in their bar lawyer system, but you have a working knowledge of the law. And that, Sean, I go in there, I have a suit on. I've had people say to me, when I'm showing up for hearings and cases, that I'm getting checked in through security, and I've been asked, like, "Are you a lawyer?" And I say, "No, but I'm a junior lawyer." I just, when you, a lot of it's posturing and your confidence when you have a working knowledge, okay, a working knowledge, and you need to, being in business and just out there
No,
anyway, just you
if
need to.
all the elite know this, they send their kids to
Hmm.
private school, right? And they teach them about financial principles, about legal principles,
Yes.
and all the stuff they don't teach us in public school. Okay, this is like a priesthood
Hmm.
of this specialized knowledge that the rulers of our society know about. And
Mm.
so we can arm ourselves with this knowledge and protect ourselves and our families from being devoured by these wolves that use these clubs
Yes.
of specialized
Monopolies.
knowledge.
Monopolies is one way to
So,
put it.
Barry, that was great. We know this is part two of the right to travel. Let's get
Mhm.
into more about Household Embassy and the people who have been
Mhm.
contacting us.
Okay, that is excellent, Sean. I'm deeply always appreciative of that. And so, yeah, there are, as people are listening to our fairly new podcast ministry here, uh, I think it's just, and I want to acknowledge and thank individuals who are joining Household Embassy International Services. It doesn't cost anything to do that. And for those who are doing that and want to just rebuild your self and family government, From Medford, Oregon, Dorothy Phillips has become a supporter, joining Household Embassy. Sue Mall, and I'm not sure where you're from, Sue, but if you would log in and update your profile, that would be wonderful. I want to know where you folks are, because I have things coming in the postal mail to you. And then Mary Gregory or Gregor in Ashland, Oregon. Hello, Mary. That's Oregon's old stomping ground for me. And Randalee Harris, who's in, I think, Irvine, California. Thank you for Randalee. We've had some correspondence. And look at this, Sean. Bayrang up in Vancouver, British Columbia. Bayrang, hello, my friend. Up there in the Great White North, where socialism has had a deeper death hole, we know, in Canada. However, we are slaying dragons here in the Union of Free and Independent States. And so I welcome you, Bayrang, to come down here to Pennsylvania and Cumberland Valley, and let's do something better together. We can individually. Sean, there's a gentleman by the name of Mark Keeler and in California, and he reached out to me. He joined Household Embassy, and he had some very kind things to say towards our family ministry in Hawaii. Look at this, Sherry Jeff. Sherry, hello. Thank you for reaching out to us from Hawaii and joining Household Embassy, for supporting this work. Tanya Rengifo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Tania. I'm sorry, Tania. She's in, Sean, I'm tripping out here. She's from Great Britain.
Nice.
So that's getting closer to my blood over there with the Scots in Glasgow, Scotland. And so we're just on the other side of the fence there. And but we love our English brothers and sisters, don't we? So yes.
Oh, and Australians. I got so many people from the UK, Australia, New Zealand who listen. So I really appreciate them.
Yes. So yes, thank you, Tania, for reaching out to us and coming into Household Embassy. And then we have Ginny Deering. She's in Stockholm County. I don't know what city or state, but it just says US. Hello, Ginny. And then lastly, most recently, Howard Wemple down in Boynton Beach, Florida. And so thank you, folks, for coming in to the fold here, where we're working at our salvation and the good things that the Lord has had me do the last 25 years. We're bringing it forward. Sean is partnering with me, and just, having this opportunity, Sean, to bring these things forward, to work for our families. And then should I say a little bit about resources and
yeah, please,
things here? So again, it doesn't cost anything to join Household Embassy. It's just that we want relationship. We want friends. Okay. And from that, we can do something better together than we can individually. All right. So when you join, you do get access to more tools for exercising, promoting, and defending your self-government. All right. But let's say you don't do that. There is enough information here on our site when you go to the rebuild page that the things that I excel in for your personal development and governance, your marital union, your family government, and your business if you are in business. Okay, so we're talking personal, marital, whole family with the children, and then business enterprise. That you can reach out to me and we can get on the phone for half an hour and let me hear about anything that pains that you would like to get away from, problems you would like help solving, some coaching there. And these are areas where I excel in management, governance, administration, organization, and bringing more order. Okay, ironing out the wrinkles so that your life quality increases while your productivity is maintained, your commitments, or sometimes we might need to reduce those things. Okay, so it is getting clear on what really should you be working on, and not supporting the evil empire anymore. Really going to town, Sean, with our families, because there's a lot of demand for complying with things. And no, I don't have a contract to comply with all these other agencies. Okay, that's the way I frame it, and it's true law. All right.
which we didn't get into
yeah.
the taxation and IRS stuff in this episode, but in the next
Mhm.
episode we will. So
Okay, you want to do
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yes,
let's talk
let's.
about that
I'm
because I
loaded
mean,
to
you're
bear.
one of the only people I've ever met in my life who isn't paying federal income taxes. So
Yes.
uh,
Well, just to be clear, there are taxes we're all paying. There are some that are legitimate, but when it comes to this matter that you want to talk about, when it comes to income, the short answer is no, 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 no. Your labor is your property, and you didn't make any gain on your exchange of your time for Federal Reserve notes. We can go into that, and I've got buku papers here from those people, Sean, and so yes, and then there's a page on resources of just books to read, movies, enjoyable movies to watch. That
family friendly, God centered movies.
yes, and one of the things, Sean, that we're looking at doing too, enhancing the value of serving our families, is that we want to start doing movie reviews, and I'd be curious if that would be of value to people anyway. But I've tasked my daughters, Joy and Victoria. We just watched a film called Stroke, no, Flash of Genius, and I own this film, and I like it because of what it shows about how a man can throw off an attack by a major motor vehicle company. Okay. And this man who invented the intermittent windshield wiper, his invention was stolen by the Ford Motor Company. And he took him to court as a pro se litigant defendant. It is amazing. And he won. And yet Ford, they wanted to buy him off with these low level, settlements. And what he wanted was, no, I'll accept this, but Ford has to come out and say that they stole my idea, my invention, and they were not willing to do that. So he was not willing to settle. So he went to court and he won. And after that big win, where he got like 20 or $30 million, this is back in the late 60s, actually, early 70s. Then he won. He prevailed against Chrysler, Plymouth, because it was just they all stolen his idea. Okay. So, but there's more that I'm not sharing now about that film that shows the breakdown in the marital union and how he prevailed. Okay. And so that's it. So anyway, we're looking at that coming forward as a review of films. We think that would be a good service. And if that would to people, we'd like that encouragement. And so that's about, those resources. And of course, for those of you who have means, we can use your financial support. I don't have that with me right now. I have what I am sharing with you, and that is experience. You see, Sean, experience prevails over head knowledge, book knowledge. I'll say book knowledge. Okay. We can learn, and that's the right. We are to learn things from others, from books, but now to be in the trenches, to really have paid a price. I don't have my own home any longer. I don't even have regular paying work, but this is my work. We've been attacked financially here in Pennsylvania, in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, by a couple of families. And I've got content on my channel, my YouTube channel. I encourage people, go there, libertyisthelaw.us. That's our YouTube channel. And look at the videos, Justice and Mercy at Rocky Knob. That's probably the biggest thing I can share right now too, Sean, is just thank you for this. And that is, we are overcoming a serious attack, even unto murder. When you look at the Bible and see what our King says, what is murder? This is hate from the heart, where you don't care the welfare of your neighbor. And so we have been attacked in a very serious way by, and then the details there. There's 2 videos. Okay. And the first one's only 14 minutes, where I introduced this. That would happen back in June. But just recently, I recorded an hour and 20 minutes. I'm releasing documents. I'm giving them an opportunity to come forward. They're not willing to. I've consulted with a lawyer, and I am releasing documents. So people that want to get in the nitty gritty right now, I'm in the fires, but I'm employing the Jesus method of fighting without fighting, Sean. And I welcome people to come and see what we're doing.
I feel sorry for the people that are messing with Barry's family because they messed with the wrong guy and the wrong principles and the wrong king that he serves. So thank you all of you who have been listening to these episodes of Sunday Scriptures for Patriots and all the wisdom that Barry's been sharing. And so we can go to his website and just start getting our own families in line with those kingdom principles. That's what it's all about. And I'm sure that the benefit that you get is going to be like the benefit that I got from me and my family and my marriage. And that's why I'm even working with Barry now, because it's been so helpful to just shift my mind from the selfish, ego-based, worldly type of way to thinking about my marriage and my family as a part of Christ's kingdom government. God bless all of you patriots. We'll see you next Sunday for the next episode of Sunday Scriptures for Patriots.
Thank you for being a part of our Christian self-government ministry by supporting our sponsor.
Don't you feel like giving back to the heroes who risk their lives every day to make the world a safer place? I mean, the military, the police, the firefighters, the first responders, they don't get enough respect or gratitude. To think that there are homeless veterans right now, I mean, they deserve a place to live. Well, my friend Lucas is a veteran who was tired of seeing other vets living on the street, and he started HeroSoapCompany.com. He makes natural soap that's healthier for you and your family. He uses essential oils, goat's milk, coconut oil. And if you have sensitive skin or dry skin, it's really perfect. But you can actually get a subscription and get it delivered to your door every month. But the best part is that it helps heroes like homeless vets get a place to live. Go over to HeroSoapCompany.com, use the coupon code QFAQ to get a discount, and check out all the varieties. And my favorite one's peppermint because of the aroma, the fresh tingly feeling. It's really an awesome natural product for your family. But while you're there, learn about the charities that the Hero Soap Company supports, so you can support the heroes, support your health, support your family with chemical-free soap, and support the channel through HeroSoapCompany.com.
Hi, thank you for checking out this video. So I just recorded my first song of the new album, Familia. And this is a song half in Portuguese, half in English. It's called Esposa Carinhosa, which means affectionate wife. It's all a family values song, has humor. It has, a little rap in it. It's a popular song, and it's to inspire people to follow God's plan for family. It's all about family. That's what this whole album is going to be about. And so if you want to help me create this album, I'd be honored. So there are lots of ways you can support. The lowest level, you get basically access to these songs before they're actually finished. And the same with the music videos. And you also get a download of all the MP3s and also a download of all the music videos. And then the support levels just keep going up, and so do the benefits. I mean, if you want to help me actually be a producer, you get a personalized music video. I will sing the song for you or your loved one, and also, do phone calls with you and get your feedback of how best to create this album and how best to share this music and this message with the world. So I would love your support. Please contact me, let me know what you think, and I'd love to work with you and collaborate with you to make this beautiful, God-centered, family-centered album a reality. God bless. Bye-bye.